Planning Commission meeting to order. Would you all please stand and place your hand over your heart and repeat after me? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Hoffman?
Here.
Commissioner McNally?
Here.
Commissioner Hirsch?
Here.
Vice Chair Flaherty?
Yes.
Chair Eisen?
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you. Approval of the agenda. Does anyone have any items to move around, or may I have a motion to and a second to approve the agenda?
So moved. Second.
Okay, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hoffman?
Yes.
Commissioner McNally? Yes. Commissioner Hirsch?
Yes.
Vice Chair Flaherty?
Yes.
Chair Eisen?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Number 6, consent calendar. We only have one item on the consent calendar.
We actually had public comment there.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're absolutely right. Thank you. Thank you very much. Number 5, public comment. In this particular segment, citizens either here or online may comment on anything under the purview of the Planning Commission. You may also comment on our public hearing item tonight, but if you comment on the public hearing item, if you comment now, you cannot comment a second time during the public hearing. So I will ask first, is anyone in chambers that wish to come forward? Seeing no one, is there anyone online?
There are no members of the public online at this time.
All right, I close public comment and now go to consent calendar. I'll take a motion and a second, please.
Move to approve. Second.
Call the roll, please.
Your voting is now open.
We might have to do roll call vote because mine is not loading.
Okay, I can take your, I can do roll call. One moment, let me just close the voting and we'll do verbal. Commissioner Hoffman?
Yes.
Commissioner McNally?
Yes.
Commissioner Hirsch?
Yes.
Vice Chair Flaherty?
Yes.
Chair Eisen?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Our first and only public hearing tonight, 74 Pier Avenue. A request to adopt a resolution to modify the conditions of approval for the conditional use permit, CUP 25, APE 25-004, for Robert's Liquor located at 74 Pier Avenue in the downtown commercial zone. May I have a staff report, please?
The project planner, Johnny Case, has a presentation for you this evening.
Good evening, Chair and members of the Commission. This item is brought before the Planning Commission as a city-initiated review of the CUP of the subject site, 74 Pier Avenue, known as Robert's Liquor. Next slide, please. Here you see an image of the existing site. The site is located within Pier Plaza and is located on the south side of Pier Avenue. Next slide, please. The subject property is in the C2 zone. In the C2 zone, an establishment selling off-sale that closes at 11 p.m. or earlier is permitted by right. An establishment selling alcohol off-sale that is open between the hours of 11:01 p.m. and 2 p.m. requires a CUP. Next slide, please. On January 3rd, 1990, the Planning Commission adopted a CUP to allow off-sale general alcoholic beverage sales at this location. On December 11th, 1990, the City Council adopted City Council Resolution 90-5357, granted a CUP on appeal for this location. In October 1996, the establishment was first approved for a business license. Next slide, please. On September 11th, 2024, the police chief and the community development director met with the owner and issued a letter detailing recent violations, CUP conditions of approval, and reminding the business owner of the Planning Commission's authority and ability to review the CUP. August 8th to August 9th, 2025, California Department of Alcohol and Beverage Control, ABC, conducted an undercover investigation resulting in the off-sale of alcohol to a minor, a state law violation. Hermosa Beach Police Department, while assisting ABC, issued several citations for possession of alcohol in public. On September 11th, 2025, the Chief of Police, in light of the violations of the CUP, state law, and Hermosa Beach Municipal Code, despite the city's previous reminder to the business owner requested a review of the CUP due to the reoccurrence of alcohol-related violations. On October 13th, 2025, the Planning Commission continued the CUP review to October 21st, 2025. Next slide, please. On October 21st, 2025, the Planning Commission held a hearing to consider the modification of the CUP. The Planning Commission continued the item, requesting that staff meet with the business owner to discuss operational improvement. On November 3rd, 2025, the Police Department and Community Development Department staff met in person with the business owner and developed business changes that should be implemented for operational improvement. Next slide, please. The Hermosa Beach Municipal Code establishes that the Planning Commission may revoke, modify a CUP subject to required findings. The police chief has reviewed the establishment for violations and has recommended the CUP to be reviewed by the Planning Commission. Next slide, please. The previous violations are noted in the slide above. For further details for the previous violations, please see the staff report as well as the Police Department and ABC report attachments. Due to the documented violations, the business is in violation with multiple conditions of approval of the CUP. Next slide, please. In order to revoke or modify a conditional use permit, any one of the 7 findings must be made. In this case, staff found that 3 of the required findings can be made based on the findings that the use has been exercised in a manner contrary to the terms of approval. Specifically, findings D, E, and G can be made. Further discussion and analysis on the required findings can be found on pages 5 through 8 of the staff report. Next slide, please. Consistent with the operational changes discussed between the city staff and business owner on November 3rd, 2025, and verified by city staff as having been implemented by the business owner, the draft resolution proposes modified conditions of approval. These conditions include draft condition of approval 5, requiring the use of electronic identification verification systems. Draft conditions of approval 10, requiring the posting of signs in a conspicuous place, warning patrons of various alcohol-related violations. Draft condition of approval 12, requiring employees and managers to complete lead training. It is staff's goal to memorialize the agreed upon and implemented operational changes as conditions of approval in order for these practices to be maintained by future operators of the conditional use permit. Next slide, please. Pursuant to CEQA guidelines, the project is categorically exempt. Next slide, please. The item was properly noticed on February 4th, 2026. Next slide, please. Staff recommends that the Planning Commission adopt an amended resolution to reflect the owner's request to have the proposed amended resolution to be in addition to the City Council Resolution 90-5357 rather than superseding the City Council Resolution. In addition, staff is recommending striking all conditions except for the conditions of approval 5, 10A and 10B, 12, 16, 17, and 21. Next slide, please. This concludes staff's presentations. City staff, including the Chief of Police, are available to answer any questions the Planning Commission may have. Thank you.
Thank you. Fellow commissioners, questions of staff, please.
Nope, sorry. First of all, thank you for the report. And tonight, as we got here, we got a corrected version. So I have one thing I'm missing is you mentioned item 25. I no longer have that in this package here. It had to do with the machines. It's not in the new document that I just received, although it is online with the other document. So I'm seeing 19 crossed off, 20 crossed off, 21 in sight, and all of a sudden I lose a different page. I got 12, 13, 13, and 13, but I'm missing items.
For the identification scanners?
Pardon me?
For the identification, that would be condition of approval number 5.
5, thank you. I thought you mentioned 25. It was 5.
Oh,
Sorry.
apologies.
5. Okay. And the other thing is, I'm hoping you, somewhere along the line, you can explain why we're missing a whole section of hours of operation. Are they in there?
The recommendation is to be in addition to the prior city council resolution, so we are not restating the hours of operation. As we have revised it, it would be in addition to. So in your attachments, you have the existing resolution, attachment 5, which is where you will find the hours of operation.
Attachment 5?
Of the original.
Of the original document, okay.
So the hours are stated in that
Yes.
original CUP.
Okay. And does it complicate not having all the language pertinent? For me, it's a complication rather than have a clean document that states everything.
It's workable. I would say the one maybe addition would be to reference the resolution as an attachment to this exhibit, so we can have one PDF as one consolidated document. I think that's the one on-the-fly recommendation I might make, so that way it is in one document.
And I appreciate the last-minute changes from our staff report that we got on Thursday to today at 9 o'clock letters, today late, 5 minutes to 5, seeing this for the first time. I would hope, though, it would be a cleaner document if we didn't have all those sections crossed off. I mean, if we were gonna accept all the conditions or lack thereof, new conditions, I would appreciate a cleaner look, but maybe there's an advantage of having them crossed off, such as the workingness of staff and others to negotiate. That's just my one man's opinion, of course, but thank you for explaining. I appreciate that. Those are my questions for right now.
Thank you, Commissioner Flaherty. Commissioner Hoffman.
Only, and it may be more an observation for folks who might be watching, on the conditions of approval as you presented them, there were 3. The only new one, as I kind of like Mike muddling through, though, is also the video surveillance, right? And that was just, I think, an omission on the thing, just so everyone's clear that that didn't go away, right?
Correct.
Thank you.
Other questions of staff by the commission? Okay, just maybe one observation, which I think you've already made clear both in your oral and written presentation. We are not substituting a CUP. We are amending the CUP from 91-1570700. And Section 19 of that original resolution says that the commission may review the conditional use permit, amend the subject conditions, and impose any new conditions if deemed necessary to mitigate detrimental effects on the neighborhood resulting from subject use. So this is merely an amendment of the 1990 CUP and not a substitution of a new CUP.
The proposed resolution would be in addition to, rather not than superseding the previous existing resolution.
When you say addition to, is that the same as amending?
Yes.
Okay. At this point, I'm going to open the public hearing. We normally let the applicant's representative speak first, and then after that, I'll ask the chief if he has some comments or observations that he would like to make.
Nice to see everybody again. Kit Bobko. I don't have a whole lot to say other than we appreciate the chief and staff working with us on this. I think this is the right result. We, of course, as you know from the detailed letter you got from me this afternoon, object to some of the facts. I'll just leave that where it lies. I'll leave that where it lies. But in terms of the additional terms, those are what we agreed to, the 4 additional terms. So I think this accurately reflects what the parties discussed. And so I wanted to say thank you to the commission for being flexible. Thank you to staff for working with us. And thanks to the chief for negotiating. So I think this is the right result.
Any questions? Thank you. Chief.
I'm not that tall. Thank you, Commissioner Izant. I think I'll just echo what Mr. Bobko said. This has been a process working with the business owners, working with Mr. Bobko, working with Director Becker and her team. Thank you. Our city, our downtown Pure Plaza, our challenges, our public safety, it's going to continue to be a challenge, and we don't want that challenge to limit the ability for businesses to be successful. And that's something that we work through in this process. I really appreciate the owners, their meeting with us, their willingness to make changes to impact and mitigate some of the potential challenges. We've had several conversations with the Department of Alcohol Beverage Control, and in today's climate, it's very difficult to have anything that's foolproof on detecting fake IDs or the risk of people using fake IDs. There's very good fakes out there. And to the credit of the business owners, they had that in place probably the week after this happened, before I think we came to this commission back in October. So we recognize and appreciate the challenges that the business owners have. We will continue to work together with our city and with our businesses and hopefully keep our city safe. So that's our goal, and I think that's the only comments I have for now, and happy to answer any questions.
Any questions of the chief? Seeing none, thank you, Chief. This is a public hearing. Anyone else in the room wish to come forward to testify on this matter? Seeing no one, do we have anyone online?
There are no members of the public with their hands raised at this time.
Thank you. Mr. Bobko, any closing remarks? No. Thank you. Thank you. case, I'm closing the public hearing. I'm bringing this back to the commission. The commissioners, what's your pleasure?
Ready? I'm ready. I think I stated my concerns a little earlier. This much paperwork with this much crossing off and editing is confusing at best. I'm glad the staff was able to explain how they're going to merge it together. So, because this is a document that's going to be used long-term. Obviously, we have the 1990 documents. I appreciate mostly the city staff working with the property owner. I think the ABC spoke loudly and clearly with their enforcement. I'm glad the chief explained he feels that there's so many problems in identifying or realizing how good the fake IDs are, that it is a challenge for business operators. I wish them well. I know that the business was in the process of selling that business. I wish them well on that. Other than that, again, some of these documents are so confusing, and also my pet peeve is receiving it at 5 minutes to 5 is tough for us to try to make a decision. So, based on the credibility I see from both sides, I certainly will approve this amendment to the existing CUP.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Hoffman?
I think there was a fellow commissioner who used to, at this point, say ditto. I won't do that. But I agree with everything that's been said. But I would add that part of the difficulty of this is that if you read the staff report very carefully, as I'm sure we all did, it indicated at some point, I shouldn't pick on it this way, but it was we were trying to mitigate the impacts of the violations. Well, that's not the function of a CUP, obviously. And the reality is, as I think has been demonstrated after going back and forth with the two parties involved, we recognize that the CUP as it existed for almost, 35 years ago, 36 years ago, all of the conditions or all of the issues that we wanted to quote unquote condition are done. So the 4 additions, with the exception maybe of the signage, we had the rare opportunity to update a CUP. There weren't ID readers, 40 years ago. There weren't video surveillance systems 40 years ago. I'm not sure when lead training began, but in other words, we've updated it slightly and hope that the lessons learned here is not, it's management practices, it's business operations, it's not CUP issues that were at the heart of the problem here. And like my fellow commissioner, will certainly, I'm delighted that the resolution is no more onerous than what it is and that we can improve this and move on. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner McNally.
Hits home with me. I've had APC licenses in 3 counties and 7 cities in the state of California, and understand the challenges that there are. I believe we've come to a resolution that is acceptable, and I tend to believe with my counselor.
Thank you. Commissioner Hirsch?
Thanks. I will kind of echo what my fellow commissioners have said. I'm glad that staff and the CUP holder are in agreement with recommendation. It's very different from where we were a couple months ago, so appreciate all the effort that's gone into it on both sides to get us to where we are today. And I intend to support the update as it's presented. I guess my only question would be, you've heard it a couple times from fellow commissioners, this seems a little confusing to be kind of adopting a resolution that has so much strike through. Is there not an opportunity for us to eliminate the strike-throughs in the final resolution, and if that becomes a motion tonight.
Yes, Commissioner Hirsch, we can absolutely delete the strike-throughs to present a clean version of this document. I would also respectfully add Alexis's request that we include the CUP from, the original CUP as an exhibit, so the two documents really speak to each other. So we have one single packet for future CUP holders.
Perfect.
Thank you. I have just one question for staff, maybe a little clarification on the most current resolution, page 8 of 13, number 10. This is about posting of signs, but it says that it's warning patrons of the illegality of selling alcoholic beverages to persons under 21 years of age, loitering and drinking within public realm. And here's the part I need a little clarification on. And removing alcoholic beverages from the premises and carrying. A lot of their stuff, I mean, that's what they do. People buy things and they walk out the door with them. So I'm not quite sure what that end of the sentence means.
With a colon.
It does have a colon, which I guess indicates that A and B is what it's referring to, but somehow it just seems, some wordsmithing, I guess I'm recommending some wordsmithing, and I'll
Yeah.
leave it to the good graces of the staff to wordsmith that.
Understood, yeah. Chair Isant, I do believe it's staff's aim to only include subsections A and B in that condition and to completely strike subsection C, and I believe the former mention of alcohol leaving the premises. I do not see that in the most updated version. Oh, there we go. Director has pointed it out to me. We will make those changes consistent with the final version of this resolution.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
That has just confused me. What are we changing in the final version of this resolution?
So draft condition of approval 10 relates to posting of signage. On the last sentence of number 10, before we get to subsection A, it mentions that signs shall be posted warning patrons or prohibiting removing alcoholic beverages from the premises and carrying. And Chair Isant has pointed out that Robert's Liquor is a business where most people carry their liquor out because it is not a restaurant or a bar. So that can be amended to accurately reflect the purpose of the business.
The way that I read that was the carrying was the signage needs to carry this language below. Not physically carrying alcohol away from the site.
Planning manager, do you have any additional context to add to this? Or maybe our case manager, Mr. Case?
I think that last portion is confusing, the removing of alcoholic beverages from the premises and carrying. So I don't think it undermines the intent if that's struck.
We're just going to strike for and removing?
Yeah, after realm, instead of a comma, let's just have a colon and strike the rest of the sentence. All right, enough wordsmithing. I'm sorry, one final comment, Commissioner Flaherty.
Maybe this is mundane, but the signage is an important factor on this issue. But there seems to be sign clutter down there, not just sign ordinances, mixed in with both advertisement and ordinances and direction. Maybe there's a way to clean up the area with a different look. The sign, when you look at even the pictures on your staff report, the signs are just intermingled so far. You really don't get to see what you're supposed to see, meaning you're seeing an advertisement for a beer next to a sign that says drinking 21. So I just think maybe there's a way to format the windows and the sign areas in such a way that they actually mean something or can be seen as relevant versus just a subsection of the advertisement. Again, one man's observation. So thank you very much for that.
Thank you, Commissioner. Are we ready for a motion?
I will move to accept staff recommendation with the modifications of providing a clean resolution with all the strike-throughs omitted, and then also adding in the original CUP as an exhibit to this resolution.
And that it's categorically exempt.
And that it's categorically exempt from CEQA.
Well, somebody needs to second.
Second.
So, thank you. I'm unclear on what that means. The clean resolution is going to go where? To the council before this is back to us?
Before it's signed.
I'm sorry?
Just before it gets signed by.
Before it gets signed for the permanent
Oh,
record.
okay, yeah, okay, for their benefit. All right, thank you.
Call for the question, please.
Commissioner Hoffman,
Yes?
Commissioner McNally? Yes. Commissioner Hirsch,
Yes.
Vice Chair Flaherty,
Yes.
Chair Eisen,
Yes.
motion carried.
Thank you, everyone. Moving on to item number 8, community development.
So much. Good evening. Just a brief mention on a topic that we talked about at the last meeting, which is convex slope determinations. We wanted to take this opportunity to kind of share some of our thoughts about how our procedure is going to develop, to make it clearer for folks when convex slope determination is appropriate and when an interpolated line should be used. Dee Dee Tran, our assistant planner, is helming the project, and so we just wanted to give her an opportunity to take 5 minutes to kind of share our thoughts on this.
And thank you, Director. And I do have just a very brief PowerPoint presentation to share with you and maybe a touch of context. Community Development Director Becker was able to find the original staff report from 1994 where this was added to the code, and we've referenced it because it helps us understand the context and the intention of the convex lot determination. So we can go to the next slide. We'll start with the interpolated line, which I'm sure you as commissioners are familiar with, but I had to become a little bit more familiar with this project. So what this is basically the standard or default way of calculating a maximum height for a building, and which has become a very important in our communities, this maximum building height. So we require for new development and anything that may be an addition, but it's going to get close to that maximum height, we require a topographic survey, and that establishes the 4 property corners of the lot. And from there, we calculate the slope of the lot. So this process will accommodate a uniformly sloping lot. So we explain to people who come to our counters and who have concern about building height that what we're doing is we're establishing kind of an imaginary, often sloping line that the building height has to be under, and we establish that through what we call the critical points or the highest points of the structure. Generally, that might be your roof peak, and in the case of our rooftop decks, that's generally going to be the top of the railing on a rooftop deck. So this process, like I said, is really our standard, our default process. It works well with most of the development in this city. And in fact, I've had the opportunity to bring to you several condo developments, and they've all utilized this method for establishing building height. Next slide. Just wanted to touch quickly, though, on our convex building height. So this is really for our exceptional properties. And this illustration that's included was included in that 1994 staff report and the accompanying ordinance. And I think it actually does a pretty clear depiction of what the intention of a convex lot is, and how it's defined in the code is where the ground level arches upward along a property line. The actual code, the original code included the words, I think, what was it? Unusual lots with extreme convex contours, but those words unusual and extreme were struck. But again, I think the intention is for those properties where this kind of four corner point with a average slope doesn't really capture the reality of maybe sitting on top of a hill, as in the case of some of our lots where literally we're getting an arch along the property line. So they established this convex lot determination. At the time, actually, two city council people asked for a threshold or a numeric analysis of when this would apply. And at that time, staff was reluctant to set any standard. But I think now that we've gone forward almost 30 years, and with our current development and analysis, we are ready to set some parameters and standards by which the community development director can begin to analyze these requests. One of which is a slope greater than 10%. Also, that we're referring to an unaltered grade. So again, I think in 1994, there weren't very many basements that were being developed in the city, but now we do have quite a few basements that are becoming a part of our new development. And in that process, you are literally excavating out the grade, and thus you may be eliminating any convexivity of the lot. And the convexivity was really meant to accommodate development, not necessarily to just give a bump because you happen to have, a little berm in the middle of your lot. Also, we recognize that this convex building height is best viewed in the context of any proposed development. So with what you would like to do, it would make sense to understand what you're going to build when we're analyzing the convexivity of the lot. So that's where we are today, and what we wanted to share with you, and certainly would like to answer any questions if you may have them. Thank you.
Questions, fellow commissioners?
Off the top of my head, I'm looking at this, where am I going to measure the 10%? Over the total slope?
That's how we currently measure it. So you take the two corner points
Right.
along the length of the property, and then divide them out by you subtract the one from the other, get that number divided by the length of the property, and that establishes the percentage of the slope of the lot.
I'm trying to think off the top of my head on a lot that's 90 feet deep, if there's a 45% break at some point in it, in the convex portion of it, and yet I end up at under 10%, have I defeated the intent of what we were doing here or not?
I think that, these would be guidelines that staff would use, and we do require one of the past requirements, which would continue to most likely be a requirement, is the 2-foot interval along the property. So like you said, if there is, if you take from maybe the front of the lot to the most convex point of the lot, and that slope is greater than 10%, then you would maybe proceed with the application if you weren't eliminating that convexivity in the process of development.
Commissioner Flaherty?
Absolutely. I probably have heard about this for 25 years, and I saw it in action, 12 years ago, so 14 years ago. So My question is, I've heard verbal explanations, and over the years, we've seen the engineering drawing.
Right.
What I'm hearing you tonight is, if they possibly could eliminate their choice of having convex if they dug a basement, but why wouldn't they submit an engineering report before they dug that basement?
I think that's the last bullet point. To your point, yes, in the vacuum of development, right, and just looking at a small convex lot, then there may be convexivity to that lot. But we need to have the context of the proposed development, and that's one thing that we are maybe progressing on with this analysis and where we are currently with development, in order to contextualize what the request is and to make it fit what the proposed development is. Because at the end of the day, this is for building height, right?
Right.
So the building should relate to the height maximum, which then relates to the grade. And if you significantly change the grade, it wouldn't really follow that you then get a higher building.
One of the key points that I remember is that the word natural grade was inserted into that. And I think I shared some folklore to some degree, but I saw some myself. That is, contractors were dumping soil on lots to gain a height and so on and so forth. So natural grade is still going to be part of this
Yes,
whole
sir.
operate. Okay. The other issue that was in the same general area was when we have a lot of houses that have their edge of their property, not necessarily is at the edge of a sidewalk. It was based on if the city or others cut the street and then left like Monterey, the retaining walls, the top of the retaining wall is the natural grade. It was cut to build a sidewalk or a street. Is that still part of so the points of his development would be based on the top of the wall, not the top of the sidewalk?
So there is within the municipal code, you're right, there's a third calculation, which is the one that you're describing.
Yes.
Which basically says that it's actually written in the code with regard to your neighbor's adjoining property.
Right.
And if there's a big disparity, the instruction is then to take the average between the two and use that for the property corners, and then therefore the calculations.
And what you're talking about is going to be a policy within your department and would end up being a handout to the developer. And then that would be the standard that we move forward on. If it was
Yes.
unclear 10 years ago, 20 years ago, whatever, it won't be unclear anymore.
That's our goal, is
Okay.
to make it so that it's transparent and universal and digestible.
Is this policy going to be not just run through us, but then eventually run up to the council, approved? Is it an ordinance or a policy?
So right now, it would be a policy. So right now, the process is a director's determination,
Right.
and any appeal comes to the Planning Commission. And we wanted to share with you what our thought process is while we analyze those applications. Because right now, there was kind of a void of what is, what isn't, why, right, are we doing this? And I think these proposals clarify the purpose and the goals, and honestly, we're also trying to strive at equity and parity between lots rather than just a one-off every time.
One last question. In one of our last meetings, we had future agenda items. Was this what you're talking to, or was there an actual appeal of a lot? There was an upcoming, there is an appeal.
It's on the March agenda.
Right.
Correct.
So is the appeal going to be based on the existing policy or new policy as you go along?
We applied this policy to that
Oh,
application.
okay.
So they were received their determination from staff that referenced this same information, and so they want to also exercise their right of an appeal, and that's scheduled for your March meeting.
Thank you.
Any other questions of staff?
Question. We have seen complex SOAP determinations come to Planning Commission in the past, but I don't believe it has not been on appeal.
That's
Has the
correct.
process thus far been, it comes to commission, and what we're trying to do is avoid having projects come to commission unless it comes on appeal?
Right, so the municipal code says that it is the determination of the community development director, and then at some point, it instead became the default to go to the planning commission first.
Okay, thank you.
All right, very timely, since we do have that appeal discussion coming up at the next meeting.
Yeah, just to kind of wrap it up, thank you so much, Dee Dee. She's put a lot of time and energy, not only into understanding the code, but also to look at our case history. And I think the difference between when the policy was established in the 90s and where we are today is that we have a very considerable fact, kind of condition, right? We've seen a lot of cases that have common characteristics. And so the purpose of kind of promulgating a set of guidance for future applicants is just to really synthesize that into some rules of thumb so that it's an easier process for everyone. So that's the update on that. And that's all we have for the evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Director. Okay, number 9, Planning Commissioner items. Any items from my fellow commissioners? Sir.
Thank you. Several months ago, we approved a project up at 8th and PCH on the east side of the street. It was going to be a multiple complex, commercial. Recently, there has been a lot of used cars being parked on that lot. Is there a change, or do they need to get a change from you to do that?
That's a great question. I drove by that a couple of weeks ago, and there was a sign up, and I asked staff to investigate. I said, I remember that case came through. And so that is exactly what staff is doing at this time. Code went out and there was no permit. There was no permit for the sign, so the sign has been removed. As I understand it, it's not quite as easy as one would think in terms of is car storage allowed on the site, right? Because the former use
Was car.
was. Right, so it's kind of one of those parcels that's in an in-between space. But you're correct that we did see it. We did approve another scheme for it. That scheme hasn't advanced, and so this appears to be an interim use.
One last statement. One of the things I even mentioned the night that was approved was the car storage on the east side of that building. And it's not like they're storing cars to be placed over to be sold next door. These are cars that are disabled. And of all things, that we required the new owner of that property or user of that property was to keep that alley or that setback clear. So, I mean, having the cars in the front of the lot seems almost natural since there were cars there for 50 years. But the ones behind there seems to be, if you were going to do another inspection, I would suggest looking back there. Those are disabled cars, cars that are not running. So, just a thought.
Thank you for that. We'll add that to the list.
Okay, fellow commissioners, other questions?
I was told that property that we approved for multiple use has one occupancy. There's one person who's going to take over the whole thing. Would that change our decision or the way that property use is? Because just throwing that out.
Right.
That was coffee conversation, but someone said, yeah, one person is going to take over that whole property.
Well, that's what we approved, and it was a little up in the air on whether there would be 4 retail units or 6 retail units, and we all kind of gagged when he mentioned it might be another hair salon or a nail salon or a Pilates studio. We don't need any more of those. I'm just assuming at this point that his plans are still in development, and if there's been a change of plans, maybe we'll eventually hear about it, but right now,
But it's okay to have one tenant instead of 6 tenants? Sorry, thank you very much.
he's the owner.
It's okay to have one tenant instead of 6 tenants I've been told. Would that make a change to the way that we look at that property?
I don't think so. I mean, he himself said, I'm not sure how many tenants I'm going to have.
Okay.
I could have 4, I could have
good with
6.
that. I want him to be successful. I just was cautious of the way that's zoned and or what our decision was.
Well, he's
Thank
going to
you.
remodel, he was proposed to remodel the building to have a variety of tenants. He said he didn't know how many. He had a certain parking plan, which I voted against. But at this point, we just need to, is there a time limit in terms of when he has to submit the plans?
2 years.
So once the entitlement is granted, you have 24 months. You can request an extension, so they have time to kind of massage it out. And then in the end, they're going to be marketing the property to a variety of different users. And if the golden goose arrives and he's like, I want the whole thing, then they'll come in and talk to planning about what that means in terms of the existing PDP approval.
Can I have one more bite at this apple?
One more bite at the apple, Commissioner.
So what I understand you're going to do is just find out whether or not the code permits somebody else to be using that during the period of 24 months where he's submitting plans. And if the code permits this use, not necessarily because there was another dealer in there for years and years, once he has got a development plan to you, he's saying he's doing something else. I'm the current, yes.
Thank you. So the code does allow for another use that's permitted by the code or by a prior entitlement to continue to operate. So we will be investigating whether or not there's any conflicts with what's being proposed and passed, what is occurring on the site now and the past entitlements. So we will be investigating that.
The last thing is, the night of the hearing, I remember distinctly talking to the proponent about his property and how there were cars parked behind. He says, well, I don't know anything about that. It was his statement, not mine, that he says, well, I'll have to investigate that. So he acted like he didn't even know there were 5 cars parked behind his property.
Okay, well, we will certainly follow up
Yeah.
on that.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you.
Director, just a couple of questions. Once we pass something, it then goes back to staff, and you guys work it through, and however those things work. But I'm curious if you have any updated information on the Comedy and Magic Club. They came before us about a year ago asking for a year's extension, and I still see nothing happening from the original plan, which was to expand the seating and so on. Do we have any updated information you can share?
Planning Manager Oropeza may, in fact.
Thank you for that question. We are actually anticipating bringing back a request for an additional time extension from the owner. So they filed a request.
Okay, thank you. My last question, Director, we all are interested, of course, ultimately in regaining control of our coastal zone. We need to have an approved LCP. Can you give us an update on what staff's doing? Are we using any outside consultants? Do you have any sort of a guesstimate on when it might come to us for a first public hearing? And whatever you can share would be appreciated.
Sure, I can give you the high-level answer there in terms of the order, the sequence of events, right? Basically, we have a certified land use plan. We do not have a certified implementation plan, which includes a zoning ordinance. We are currently in our other world, we have a new general plan, and we have a zoning code which is being updated. So it behooves us to complete the zoning code update so that when we go to the Coastal Commission, we are bringing the most current version of the zoning code. So we're not submitting an application which is then amended with new information. We're working in earnest to complete the zoning code update within the next 12 to 18 months. And while we're doing that, we are having conversations with the Coastal Commission about what an application would look like. But at this point, I'm not advising, again, a bifurcated effort, because our highest priority has to be updating our zoning code so it's consistent with our new-ish general plan.
Thank you, Director. Any other questions of staff? Okay, future agenda items. Please take a look and see what's coming for March, and then I'll take a motion to receive and file.
Move to receive and file?
Second.
Please call the roll.
Commissioner Hoffman?
Yes?
Commissioner McNally? Yes. Commissioner Hirsch?
Yes.
Vice Chair Flaherty?
Yes.
Chair Eisen?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, I'll take a motion to adjourn at 5:57. We can cut out before 6 o'clock.
You didn't set a record, but it was real close.
I'm working on it. I'm working on it. All right, I'll take a motion to adjourn. All in favor?